But obviously, there are challenges. As we speak, it will be incumbent on Dampare to take a look at those challenges. Some could be of immediate, you could have immediate impact by addressing them. Some will be medium term, some will be long term. As I said, the police, they have a certain document. It's not the right word to use. I'm sure I brought it here. The transformation agenda.
Like a strategic plan.
Yes, it's begun. Indeed, it is Apietu who put it together. But if you go into it properly, the first phase of it began under the Mahama administration, 2010 to 2014. And then Apietu picked it up, polished it, and expanded it. And it's a whole vision that if you work to, so we're no longer talking of just personalities. Personality is important, leadership is important. You show it.
You drive it,
yeah,
but there's a guide.
There's a guide, you know. So if you would take a look at that vision, and then perhaps he has his own to add here and there, fine, you know, could go on. But immediately, the image of the police, especially in areas where human rights violations, you know, in terms of the public's rights, and sometimes they are handling of notification for demonstrations and things, and the way they go to court, sometimes ex parte and those things, have not helped the image. And you see, police needs the public's cooperation consistently. It's a key element in fighting crime and making police succeed. Elsewhere, it's a given.
Yes.
But when you have situations where people have difficulties with the police, they have challenges, they attacks on them in the streets and all, going to court to stop them without notice, those things undermine the public confidence in that institution. And then it's difficult for you, the police, to get a cooperation that can make you fight crime. So yes, that area is immediate. You could take a look at it, address that side, and ensure that perhaps you get more public support. But Randy, quickly, within the police itself, within the, especially the hierarchy, he needs to attract their support. He needs to get everybody on board. Because I can bet you, yeah, there are people who say, oh, but why him? Why not this one? You know, that is human. But find ways and means of tackling that thing and bringing everybody on board. So you should look within first and make sure that, look, I am in charge. That is when he effectively takes over. I am in charge and I have the support of my men and women at the top. Then you can start dealing with some of the problems. The rank and file, they have welfare challenges. You know, police accommodation. I know things have been done over the years, in the last 8 or 9 years. If you read the Hansard, there have been a lot of approval of loan facilities to build houses for policemen, to re-equip them. And this vision I'm talking about, many of them are there. So then it comes to logistical capability of the police institution. How do you go about it? You know. So, well, I'm not an expert, but at least this is how I see things, and I wish he succeeds.
All right, okay. Well, Sammy, in both your chosen profession and your chosen career, you deal with the police. I'm talking about law and politics, and all that. What was your reaction to this announcement? Your initial reaction?
Well, I don't know much about COP Dampare.
Oh, you never met him?
I've never met him.
Oh, okay.
I don't know much about him. But since his appointment became public, the commentary or the testimonies I've heard about him are quite positive. Like you have observed on social media, I've seen people across the political divide laud his credentials. Some have said that he's a professional police officer, he's a nice man, he's a gentleman, like Mr. Bako just said. People have said that he's very diligent and fair-minded, open-minded, you know, and so on. I think these are good accolades. These are good virtues. Clearly, it appears that over the years that he has been in the force, he has made a good name for himself. He has carved a niche for himself. And so I would like to congratulate him on this appointment and hope that he will bring about there needed changes in the administration of the police service and in the maintenance of law and order in this country, because currently that is one of the biggest challenges we are confronted with. Randy, I agree with you that if you look at the wide acceptance of his appointment, it places on him a lot of expectation on the part of the public. The choice is his, to make whether he will act in accordance with the name he has built for himself, the reputation he has built for himself, and even boost public confidence in his character and professionalism, or whether he will throw everything away, succumb to the pressures that comes with the new office that he has been appointed to, and just destroy what he has spent years building. He will have to make that choice. But speaking about expectations, what is the expectation of Sammy Gyamfi, or the man watching, or the ordinary Ghanaian, as far as this new appointment is concerned? We are all worried about the image and credibility crisis that the Ghana Police Service is currently facing. We think something drastic will have to be done by this new acting IGP to restore public confidence in the police service. The people of this country are looking for a police service that can and will protect the people, not a police service which will be used by political actors against the people, like we have seen in the case of the Fix the Country movement, how the police has been used against innocent citizens of this country, how some of them have been assaulted, how some of them are being harassed by the police and all that. We don't want to see our police service, which we as a people have established, who we pay, being used by political actors against the people. We want to have a police service that protects and defends the people. Again, we need a police service that will go after crime and corruption, no matter whose ox is God, no matter who is involved and their positions or backgrounds. We need a police service that will apply the law, across board, and not in a selective manner like we have seen in recent time. A police service that will treat all citizens as under the law, and not some citizens as under the law and others as above the law. And like I said, police officers who can go after crime, investigate, punish sin, no matter who is involved, whether it is a minister, whether it is a president or not, and not police officers who use the police service to cover up crimes, like we saw under Tiwa, under Dankwa, seen under some CID heads and some IGPs, in recent times. So he has a lot to do. The issue of transparency relative to recruitments into the police service has also been an issue in recent time. How recruitments are done without any advertisements like it has been over the years. It is something that some of us will be monitoring closely and will be checking whether he will bring some changes in that direction. So we are just looking for a patriotic, professional, responsible, law-abiding police service. A police service with integrity that all citizens will have confidence in and respect. That is the task he has. That is the expectation we have of him. And I think that based on the testimonies I've heard about him, even though I don't know him in person, he has what it takes to do that. And so I will give him the benefit of the doubt whilst we monitor closely. But if he chooses to succumb to political pressures and interference in his work, if he chooses to do the bidding of the ruling MPP and the government like his predecessor did, if he chooses to renege on his responsibilities of protecting his own officers from armed robbers and other risks associated with their work, then he will destroy the good name he has built for himself all these years. And lastly, I'm very expectant. I want to see how he will handle this issue of Kennedy Agyapong. relative to the accusations he has made against the police service about the murder of Ahmed Swale and the identity of those who committed that murder, and the serious allegations he has made against the police about their complicity and how they are protecting the murders of the murderers of Ahmed Swale and so on. I want to see how differently he will handle that issue. Because so far, what we have seen is a very timorous police service when it comes to wrongdoing on the part of high-ranking officers in the Akufo-Addo government, and police service that is always being used as a tool to hound political opponents and innocent Ghanaians. And I hope sincerely that he can rise above all these issues, the political pressures and interference, and show professionalism, bring about needed changes that we all desire. So congratulations to him.
You sincerely believe that with the kind of architecture that we have, he will be able to do all the things that you expect him to do?
The architecture is a challenge. It makes it difficult for a professional policeman to rise above, like I said, the political interferences, the pressures and all that. It makes it difficult, but it doesn't make it impossible. Because I believe that we've had police officers in this country under this same architecture who have distinguished themselves. There are certain policemen that even we politicians fear. Certain policemen that if you are picking the phone as a politician to call, that you've arrested this person, he's my party man, release him, you will think twice. I believe there are still police officers like that in the force, even though they may be in the minority. So Dampare, COP Dampare, can be one of such police officers who will say that I will apply the law without any selectivity. I will do my work professionally and with a sense of patriotism. I'm here to serve Ghana and not any political party. He is relatively young. Okay, so obviously, I'm not sure he would have attained his retirement age by 2024.
Yes.
So you should look at serving beyond the tenure of this government. And I believe that that is possible. Some people don't care losing their jobs. Some people don't care losing favor with the government of the day, or even being victimized, for standing for what is right, for standing for their principles and their convictions. Those kind of people are the people who are in short supply in our country today. And they are the people we need, particularly in our security agencies, which have been bastardized in recent time through the integration of many vigilante elements of the ruling party. So the current architecture is problematic. We all agree that something must be done about it. It's one of the issues that we need to look at critically relative to constitutional amendments when that opportunity comes. But it is not impossible for us to have a man of conviction, a principled, professional, diligent police officer who will say that I will still do my work, you know, and I will do so fairly, in accordance with law, without any selectivity, and I will not succumb to the pressures that comes with his job. But I will stand firm for the interests of the nation, because at the end of the day, that is what posterity will remember him for. I'm not too sure how posterity would judge somebody like the IGP who hails from my hometown, Doma, COP, Opon, Bunri. I'm not too sure about
what
that.
Did he do?
I'm not too sure about how posterity would judge former IGP Apietu and all these other IGPs, you know, and even some IGPs who served under NDC governments. But I'm sure that there are some police officers who can go on retirement smiling that they have done a good service to this country, that the people of this country and posterity will judge them well for. Let COP Dampare be challenged to become one of such police officers, and I think he'll be doing himself a lot of good if he does that.
Okay. Well, today, Parliament will be vetting the nominee for the Office of Special Prosecutor, Kisi Ajaben, and we're told that it will take place at committee rooms 1, 2, and 3 of the new administration block of Parliament at 10 a.m. He's a law lecturer and private legal practitioner, and he replaces the citizen vigilante Martin Amidu. Now, the Office of the Special Prosecutor has the mandate to investigate and prosecute all suspected corruption and corruption-related offences pertaining to public officers, politically exposed persons, and persons in the private sector. And apart from initiating investigations on its own, Act 959 gives the Office of the Special Prosecutor the power to receive and investigate complaints of alleged corruption from the public or investigate suspected corruption or corruption-related offences upon referral from public bodies such as the Attorney General's Department, Commission on Human Rights and Administrative Justice, and the Economic and Organized Crime Office, EOCO. So, Kissi was called to the bar in 2003, and since 2006 has been teaching criminal law at the University of Ghana, was engaging in private practice. Now, anti-corruption campaigner group Citizens Movement Against Corruption wants the Appointments Committee to thoroughly interrogate all red flags raised about the nomination of Kissi Agyebeng as Special Prosecutor when the nominee appears before them for vetting. And the convener of the Citizens Movement Against Corruption, Edem Senanu, indicated that issues such as conflict of interest and others raised by some concerned persons, including Matiamidu, against Agyebeng must not be taken lightly but must be probed. Sammy?
Well, like COP Dampare, I don't know Lawyer Kissi Agyebeng personally as well.
Okay.
But I have mates that he taught at the law faculty at the University of Ghana. And I also have seniors at Chambers who have worked under him. He used to work at the law chambers that
He
I'm
attended
working
the
at.
academy.
Oh, I see. Yes. I'll be very careful what I say about it. He's worked at INM fairly as a senior lawyer.
Yes.
I know lawyers who worked with him whilst he was there, and like COP Dampare, the testimonies about him are positive. People have said that he's a fine gentleman, he's a very knowledgeable lawyer, and so on. So, under normal circumstance, what one should do is to just give him the benefit of the doubt, the encouragement and the support he needs to be able to do his work diligently. But looking at how this Akufo-Addo Bawumia MPP government has handled corruption and has handled the Office of Special Prosecutor, which they established, how they have interfered in that office, the work of that office, how they have sought to use that office to achieve their political agenda. I have my doubts as to whether this fine gentleman, Kissi Agyebeng, will be able to excel in that office because of the environment that he will be working in and because of the man who has appointed him and his philosophy, his orientation, his position on the subject of corruption, particularly corruption on the part of himself and his appointees. I doubt the clout and the gravitas that Mr. Kissi Agyebeng brings on board. Clearly, he is not in the same league like giants like his predecessor, Martin Amidu, who could take on anybody, whether in opposition or in government. And you could disagree or agree with him on that, but at least he had that courage of conviction. He had that mental fortitude, that clout and gravitas to go after crime, no matter who was involved, no matter whose ox was God. I don't see this brilliant lawyer, Mr. Kissi Agyebeng, as one who has that same track record, because clearly this would be his first time in such a public office, and so I have nothing to assess him or judge him with, except those who have worked with him personally and may know things that some of us don't know. Okay, but if you look at some of the things that the just outgone special prosecutor has said about him, Martin Amidu, who most Ghanaians believe in, he has described Kissi Agyebeng as a surrogate of the people who promoted and defended the corrupt Ejapa scandal. He's described him as a surrogate and puppet of the president's cousin who was involved in that stinking Ejapa scandal, Gabi Otredako. It is for Kissi Agyebeng to prove some of us wrong. All right, we are entitled to have our opinion on his capacity. I don't think that, I think that he's a brilliant lawyer. I don't doubt his credentials as a lawyer at all, or his knowledge in the law at all. But it takes more than knowledge in the law to excel as a special prosecutor. What you need is a strong-willed person who is afraid of nothing. A man who is courageous and will stand for the truth, will stand for fairness and justice, no matter who is involved. That was the kind of man Martin was, and that is why I never supported his resignation, even though I sympathized with all the things he went through. I didn't think that he had to resign. But he has resigned, and necessity is laid on the president to appoint a replacement, which he has done. Fine lawyer, but I doubt his gravitas, his clout, his conviction, and his courage. He will have to prove some of us wrong, and he will have to prove those who have said that he is coming to do the bidding of the Japa mafias and the family and friends cabal of President Akufo-Addo. And so, in conclusion, what I would say is that I'm expecting this special prosecutor to come into office and fight corruption, protect the public purse, pursue criminals in government who are fleecing the state coffers, who are making this country lose money. If those people are in the NDC, let him go after them. If those people are in the MPP, including the president who has appointed him, let him go after them. I want to see this special prosecutor going after the PDS scandal, in which this poor country has lost more than $200 million. $200 million that citizens paid to PDS, that till date they are refusing to pay back into the state coffers. I want to see him go after the boss scandal and get that money that this state has lost through that corrupt transaction for this country. Because, Randy, as we all know, till date, the monies that were the proceeds of the sale of those 5 million liters of contaminated fuel haven't been paid into the state coffers till date. I want to see him go after the Ejapa scandal, in which millions of monies have been paid to law firms, including African Legal Associates, the law firm of the cousin of the president, Gabi Ochredako, for no work done. Money that we have paid to them for their legal services for a botched deal, a deal which never materialized, a deal that the Republic didn't derive any benefit from. And today, Gabi and his law firm have refused to refund those monies to us, together with their partners who worked on that deal. I want to see, this special prosecutor go after the 500 missing excavator scandal, which has occasioned huge judgment debt to the state, an issue that we have discussed here. A judgment debt of about $15 million, just because this government seized equipment, mining equipment, in the course of their so-called Galamsey fight, instead of them to have kept it with the police as prescribed by law. They said they don't trust the police, but rather trust their central regional vice chairman, Ekwewusi, and so they will keep it, with him, only for 500 of these excavators to be stolen. And one of the affected companies goes to court, and the court says, because you did not handle or dispose of these mining equipment you seize in accordance with law, the people of this country will have to cough up over 90 million Ghana cedis. That's equivalent to 900 billion old Ghana cedis to a private company, just like that. The president has not said anything about it. Nobody has been held responsible, yet we know those who are entrusted with excavators. We know those who cannot account for sin, yet they are walking the streets of this country free. These are some of the scandals. PDS, Boss, Ejapa, and many other scandals that time will not allow me to go through, that I expect this special prosecutor to pursue. If he's able to do that, whilst at the same time fighting crime and corruption on the part of citizens, on the part of elements in the opposition and all that, we will all support him to succeed. But if he comes and proves Martin Amidu right, that he's a puppet and surrogate of Gabi Ochredako and the Japa Mafia, and that he's only coming to do the bidding of government, if he comes and proves some of us right, that he lacks the courage and the conviction to stand for the right thing, pursue, criminals and corrupt officials, regardless of their political affiliation, then I think he will go down in a very bad way, and posterity will remember him for that. And so, like COP Dampare, the ball is in his court. Will you make a good name for yourself that you can sit back one day and be proud of? Or will you destroy all that you have built in your career as very reputable, successful, knowledgeable lawyer? The choice is his to make. But I wish him well.
We'll be back shortly.
The search for a reliable partner is available. The sale of Camel car batteries, Weichai and Kia spare parts, Zonton coaches and light duty vehicles for everyday movement. Contact us on 020-www.saautomobilegh.com. SA Automobile, the pleasure of doing business with you is all ours.
The average human body mass should have at least 60% water for optimal performance in any physical or mental exercise. We can help you maintain it naturally. X Natural Mineral Water. Simply natural.
Right, welcome back to the show. If you just joined us, this is Good Morning Ghana live on Metro TV. Still with me on the show, I have Sammy Jemfi and Abdul Malik Kwekubako. I hardly hear people question his competence as a lawyer.
Thank you.
His credentials as a lawyer, his knowledge and grasp of the law. What I hear people raise, twofold. One has to do with his association with Gabi Ochredaku and some members of the government, and believing that he's been brought in just to cover them up and make sure that issues of corruption relating to them is covered, to put it bluntly. The second part too has to do with what persons like Mr. Martin Amedu will say are issues of conflict of interest and all that. What do you expect from the vetting today, and what do you make of all these issues that are raised about his suitability for the position?
Well, I am hoping that those who have raised so-called red flags will not stop at raising it within the public space. I'm hoping that they would have done what they need to do by sending memos to the appointments committee. It's part of the procedure. That's what I'm hoping, including my own good friend Martin, writing long pieces in the newspapers or on the net, or talking about it on radio and television will amount to nothing, really, unless some members of the committee are minded to pick it. But usually they like to receive the memo so that they know where it's coming from. A responsible source, somebody ready to defend their so-called red flags. If nothing of the sort happens, then those who are talking of red flags and raising red flags in the streets or on social media are doing a lot of injustice, not only to themselves, but to the process. So, yes, Raddy, you know what? This gentleman, you've settled the first part, so I'm not going to go there. The question about his credibility, integrity, or if you like, his professional credentials, rather. I won't go there. It's so clear. And I'm sure the committee has a copy of his credentials and will even examine it, which is part of the procedure. But this red flags, conflict of interest, this, that. Well, let me also disclose, he's a friend. Okay? So I might be biased in my appreciation of who he is and what he is. Let that be on public record. He was the solicitor, if you like, for a Tiger Eye for quite a long time. So I know him quite well. But you see, he was also a counsel for Muntaka in some case. I've forgotten, it doesn't come immediately. He defended the boss branding, Smarties. I'm sure you remember.
Yes.
So I wonder why, because he defended Gabi in a defamation case. And I think the case is still alive, relative to Kevin Taylor, the gentleman in the US. And then an MP whose name I've forgotten, who also defamed Gabi. So these two defamation cases, he was Gabi's lawyer. And I wonder why that's a problem. He had absolutely nothing to do with Ejapa. Absolutely nothing. And has no relationships with Gabi's law firm, the African Legal Associates. Absolutely nothing to do with them. And had nothing to do with Ejapa. But yes, he defended Gabi in two cases. I'm sure that those cases are still, I'm told the MP is asking for an out-of-court settlement. And then, of course, he defended Montica. He defended...
Maybe it's because of this picture.
Yeah, but they were mates in school, weren't they? In law school?
No.
Or?
It was Kisi. No, it was Kisi and Gabi's wife.
Who were
at the faculty.
Yes. There's a... I'm not saying they are enemies or they are not friends. They are.
They have a relationship.
They have a relationship.
I mean, so Kisi is my buddy.
That's right. I know that.
My junior in school is my buddy.
I know. Okay. So those red flags, I really know red flags. But I don't have a difficulty if the committee interrogates those things. It's good for him. It's good for Kisi himself, the office he's going to occupy, and the integrity that must come with it. So whilst I think some of these red flags have no foundation, I will be quick to say I plead with the committee to raise them so that the gentleman can throw light on these matters. That would be useful to that extent. But otherwise, look, we wait for him to start working.
What about the issues? Sorry.
Yeah.
What about the issues that are pending at the Office of a Special Prosecutor that he is involved in?
Yes,
for example,
I was coming to that.
Okay, right.
Yes, but that's a good point.
Right.
That's a very good point, and especially the one that is dear to my heart, which is the Galamsey video thing.
Yes.
Already there are a lot of things happening in the public space. I think Asampa yesterday, I heard them reading excerpts of the CID report, which they had just intercepted, and putting some light on it. I heard Charles Bisu on the program clarifying things and defending himself. No, he's entitled to do that. This is right, and I have nothing against what he was saying or what Asampatu decided to do. I mean, we will do the same thing if you... Of course, I have a copy of that report. You, Randy, I'm sure you know about that report, the controversial CID report. But there's absolutely nothing wrong. But that is one area. And personally, I've been thinking of this a long time. If I were him, I would take that case out of my office, of the office. I will exercise that discretion. This is a controversial opinion I'm advancing, Randy. for good reasons, because of his association with Tiger Eye, and because at the time the case was sent to the former special prosecutor, Jabin was still associated with Tiger Eye. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if even he defended the case. So, of course, he doesn't work alone. You know, there are others like Samir Dakong and the rest who were working with Tiger as their counsel. So, whilst I haven't checked whether he personally, specifically went to the Office of Special Prosecutor to make an advocacy for Tiger, his association with Tiger at that time was material relative to every legal brief Tiger might have been putting up. So left me alone. And this is a very personal thing. And you'll be surprised. I haven't discussed it with Anas. I haven't discussed it with Ejabin too. But if I were him, if I get the office and I was in that situation, I would take out that particular case from my remit. The former special prosecutor did not end it, did not conclude. I read somewhere where he said, oh, there was some question of identity of somebody who had to come and help the investigations, you know. So there's a small outstanding thing. That's why it's one of the cases he left us unfinished business. If I'm minded to advise my friend Jabin, I would say please take that case out of the place so that people don't have a perception.
You mean you should send it to the CID?
CID, EUCO, or everything. I don't immediately have an answer to that, but there are alternative state institutions who could handle that case too.
What about he not?
CID, why it might not have to go back there is that don't forget what they did. They already investigated the matter and they came to a conclusion. Because Anas did not cooperate, and rightly so, in my candid opinion, they arrived at their own conclusions, which you consider one-sided, and that was what was being sampled yesterday on radio. You know, so it would be a bit progress or say lawyers. There's a word I'm trying to look for. You know, to send it to CID. It would make sense to me. I'm not sure they will have to reinvestigate. Maybe this time with analysis operation. No, it would make sense to me.
When he was nominated, this is one of the questions I asked him.
Oh, okay, you did.
I did, and I will let him provide that answer at the vetting.
Okay. But you did. I don't see any ethical issues.
No, I'm not saying. I'm not talking ethical. I'm not talking ethical. I'm not even talking conflict of interest. I'm talking of perception.
His prescription when I spoke with him, is different from what you are prescribing.
Okay.
But as to whether he still holds that position, because it's been
I wish you could
over months. I won't tell you.
Yeah, but you see, it's because I haven't bothered to ask that question.
Right.
I haven't even bothered to ask Anas his own opinion. It just struck me as that's only one thing, if you like, red flag, that if I were him, I would take out of my remit, the remit of the office. And this is a very personal observation or opinion. I'm not basing it on ethics and things. I'm basing it on how people will read into whatever decisions are arrived.
Public perception.
But that doesn't matter.
Yes, I mean, it matters to me.
Okay.
I'm not saying it is an issue that disqualifies the office or him as special prosecutor from dealing with.
If you
I think I've made myself clear.
That's how you would deal with it.
Yes.
Okay.
You know.
But is there?
You will send it to
one
the
other
CID.
thing. No,
but we discussed that already.
One other thing is the office of the special prosecutor.
Yes.
Is it empowered by law to send cases that it is already investigating to other agencies?
I don't know that.
Because I know by the law, some other agencies can refer matters to the office of special prosecutor.
Yeah, they too can, but I'm not sure the point you made, which is a good point, that they've already started.
Because they started work on it. Does the law allow them?
I'm not sure.
To send it to another outfit?
No, Randy, I'm not sure. I don't have any precedence to that effect. Indeed, I didn't even bring their act here. That could have helped. But whatever it is, I think that would be of a bit of a dubious thing to do. So I hesitate to make a case there. But this is a very personal thing that I've expressed based on the predictable nature of some people who would want by all means to have a case against whatever conclusions that office arrives under his leadership. It's a purely personal thing. It may have no foundation, it may be unsustainable, but this is a personal thing. Everything else goes. This is my view. We'll wait to see what happens at his own performance, his responses, and things would also add to the material for us to interrogate in the public space.
Randy, just 30 seconds. I think Mr. Kissie Agyabeng should clearly reject this advice from Mr. Bako because it is not in the interest of the country at all. You see, I understand where he's coming from, perception and all that, but once it is not unlawful, okay, I think that his involvement in that matter is even a plus. It's even the more reason why you should be the person investigating it. It's like somebody saying that Martin Amidu was instrumental, say, in unraveling the Isophoton or Waterville cases. And so once he's special prosecutor, he cannot investigate it as special prosecutor and proceed to court to prosecute people involved in that. That doesn't add up. You understand? I'm saying that, I'm just using that as an example. It's like somebody making that argument. He works with an investigative body which conducted this Galamsey fraud investigations. That was just a journalist or an investigative company, private work. Now, even before his appointment, the Office of Special Prosecutor was seized with the matter and were already investigating the matter. So, he is just coming to continue from where his predecessor left off. I won't belabor the point, but my point is that it is in the interest of the Republic that the Office of Special Prosecutor investigate this matter, because clearly the CID cannot be trusted to conduct any credible investigations into this matter. You are one of those who have, in this specific matter, you are one of those who have bemoaned the handling of this particular matter.
Yes.
Particularly the conduct of the minister who referred the matter to them for investigations when he knew the special prosecutor was seized, you know, with the matter. So if it is not the CID, then who else? Are you going to take it to?
There are other agencies, but the point is,
I mean, I think that the Office of Special Prosecutor,
National Intelligence Bureau, the UOCO. Sammy, don't be that cynical. These are institutions of state.
Please. I think that should be his first test case.
This is my
As for me, I've given him the benefit of the doubt. I want him to prove me wrong. I have not raised any, red flag, for which reason I have to petition the Appointments Committee. I'm only raising legitimate doubts about his gravitas, his
because
class, his courage, and so on.
And because time has lapsed between when we spoke.
He might have changed his
mind.
Yes, so I just don't
But for me, my position is that he should proceed with the investigation. At the end of the day, it is the office and not him.
I hope, look, how
you understand? It is the office and not him.
What he's saying will be broadly accepted by all of us. But you know,
but who are those who are going to say they don't accept it? Your MPP friends. Charles Bisu, but who cares about that?
Don't go there.
Who cares about whether they accept it or not? If they conduct the investigations and Mr. Bakwe comes out that indeed what Charles Bisu was seen on tape collecting was a bribe, it is a bribe. No, doesn't matter whether they accept it or not. It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, their findings will be tested in a court of competent jurisdiction, because the findings of the Office of Special Prosecutor are not sacrosanct. They will be tested in a court, and if they have any issues with that, they can challenge it in court. But Randy, to just say that some people will not be comfortable or may have the wrong perception, and so we should discontinue the matter, and even though it's a personal matter, I'm saying it's a very dangerous personal opinion, and we should not even suggest it.
I hear your judgment. No difficulty with it at all. In the course of making my case, I mentioned Charles Bisu's name and the CID report. But in context, you see, it's not them I'm referring to in terms of perception. Out there in this, our community, in this country, we know, you know, I know, and Randy knows that whether we like it or not, there will be a certain section of society that will raise this perception. I use the word perception aggressively. That's what it is. I'm only reacting to it in a very personal way. I'm not seeing it as a legal foundation.
Okay.
Yes.
Let's make progress.
Okay. So now one of the one Ghanaian who has been operating from the diaspora but has been contributing a lot, especially to the development of democracy and public discourse, is a person we fondly call Professor Kwekwaza.
Yeah.
Yes. And you know, he's been on this beat about the issue of citizenship when it comes to, you know. So, interestingly, after almost 2 decades of calling for the amending Article 94.2, he's managed to use the private member bill program and the facilitation of the Speaker to get a bill gazetted. And the bill is sponsored by Kennedy Osei, who's an MP.
I read something on social media.
Yes. And so that now it's been gazetted. So the phase 2 will be having the stakeholder consultations and lobbying of MPs to get their buy-in. And for those who just refresh our memories, 94(2)(a) says that a person shall not be qualified to be a member of parliament if he owes allegiance to a country other than Ghana. That's where the catch is. And so
the courts have over the years misinterpreted that.
Yeah, so
provision.
if you look at the memo, what has been gazetted, it says that the object of the bill is to amend the Constitutional Republic of Ghana to remove restrictions imposed on dual citizens and persons who owe allegiance to a country other than Ghana from holding public offices specified in Clause 2 of Article 8 and Paragraph A of the Clause 2 of Article 94 and provide for related matters. On the promulgation of the 92 Constitution, Clause 1 of Article 8 of the 92 Constitution of the Republic of Ghana prohibited citizens from holding dual citizenship. The clause stipulated that 1. Subject to this article, a citizen of Ghana shall cease forthwith to be a citizen of Ghana if on attaining the age of 21 years, he by a voluntary act other than marriage acquires or retains the citizenship of a country other than Ghana. The proscription in Clause 1 of Article 8 of the 92 Constitution was insufferable as it denied many citizens of Ghana the option to hold dual citizenship. The cries of the citizens of Ghana subsequently led to a review of the provision. The Constitution of the Republic of Ghana Amendment Act 1996, Act 527, was enacted to, amongst others, repeal Article 8 of the Constitution, Section 1, Act 527, which is the current Article 8 of the 92 Constitution. And it provides that 8, a citizen of Ghana may hold the citizenship of any other country in addition to the citizenship of Ghana. 2, without prejudice to Article 94A of the Constitution, no citizen of Ghana shall qualify to be appointed as a holder of any office specified in this clause if he holds the citizenship of any other country in addition to the citizenship of Ghana. And so the offices are 1, Ambassador or High Commissioner, Secretary to the Cabinet, Chief of Defence Staff or any Service Chief, Inspector General of Police, Commissioner, Customs, Excise and Preventive Service, Director of Immigration Service, and any office specified by an Act of Parliament. So it goes on and on. It says it's worth mentioning that the Supreme Court has specifically interpreted an Act of Parliament referred to in Article 82G to mean an Act of Parliament enacted in accordance with Articles 289 and 291 of the Constitution. So it goes on and on and on. I'm sure that in the coming days we'll be dealing with this issue in full detail. But basically, it is also to afford Ghanaians who hold dual citizenship the right to hold certain positions. There's this thing out there that, look, it doesn't make sense. I've even raised the issue that, for example, you know, a powerful office like the Office of the Chief of Staff, you know, or like an advisor to the President, senior advisor to the President, you do not need to meet all these requirements.
Yeah.
You don't need to meet them, you know. Yet, so what it means is that dual citizen can be appointed Chief of Staff or senior advisor or special advisor to the President. They will not come for vetting in Parliament. They can be dual citizens and it doesn't matter. Yet, you cannot be deputy minister if you are a dual citizen. You know, you cannot be MP and all that. And I think that maybe the framers of the Constitution had good intentions, but as we move on, we obviously need to look at it. So congratulations to you, Professor Kwekwaza, and I'm sure that advocacy will continue. But gentlemen, one of the thorny issues this year has been about the President's travels, especially on the jet that has been described as what was the name? The expression given to it. There's a penthouse in the sky, you know. And the Honorable Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa, MP for North Tongue, had filed a question, and back and forth. The Finance Minister was in Parliament yesterday. He gave answers. people are livid about his answers. Anti-corruption campaigners are also saying that, look, it is a cover-up. Let's first of all find out what transpired in Parliament.
Ask the Honourable Minister for Finance how much the President's recent official travels to France, Belgium and South Africa in May this year cost the Ghanaian taxpayer.
The Chief of Staff works with the National Security Secretariat to facilitate the safe coordination of the President's travels. So there's obviously interactions between them as to how much is to be spent on that. Mr. Speaker, this Honorable House is also well aware of national security implications of various activities that are done, and that is why they have certain protocols of national security. Mr. Speaker, all things may be permissible, but not all things may be beneficial. And it's therefore always the House knowing what it is that they have to do in camera and what they do not have to do in camera, which leads us to this. Mr. Speaker, I still contend that the best placed person to furnish this Honorable House with the details would be the National Security Minister, in which your answers the appropriate answers will be given.
Since I was caught in the moment, I meant no disrespect. I'm very sorry. So, no, withdrawn.
To query gift mix and get any information about expenditure that has been captured in gift mix. But Mr. Speaker, when you release monies to agencies in bulk, expenditures from those monies must go through an approval and a warrant process, and that warrant process commits the expenditure to specific item lines. And so we are not asking of the bulk money you sent to the office of the President, but the expenditures emanating from those monies went through a budget approval process and warrants were issued committed to specific expenditure lines. And once it is entered into that expenditure line, the minister sitting in his office is the only person in Ghana who can access that information at any level of detail. So for the minister to say that he needs to get the information from another ministry, when with the press of the button, you can query the specific expenditure item called travel and tell the details on those travels. Mr. Speaker, I think he's avoiding the question. Did they issue warrants in order to pay expenditures relating to the President? And where was it entered? In the gift mix.
Yeah. Honorable members, we move on to the next question. I'm doing so because I think I was trying to draw your attention to something you are not taking care of. You have processes. You have processes. The processes take time. And reading the answer, he has left those processes in doubt. But he says, if you ask this specific person, he will be able to get you those details there. That is why I'm saying that it doesn't arise. These supplementary questions you are asking doesn't arise. Let's move forward, get the person involved to come to answer the questions and give the details. Please. Deputy Minority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, with the greatest respect, the Minister of Finance provided an effect of the office of the President. So I want to find out from the Minister Is the minister saying that the travels of the president are financed under the budget of the national security? Because he says that in the last paragraph that he says that the president's domestic and international travels are matters to do with national security. The national security minister is the best placed to furnish this house with the details needed. The detail we need is the cost of the travel. Is the Minister of Finance saying that the national security minister is the one who controls the budget that finances the president's travel? So that when we ask him, you'll be able to provide the information. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The last paragraph of the minister's answer says that, Mr. Speaker, the president's domestic and international travels are matters to do with national security. The national security minister is best placed to furnish this honorable house with the details needed.
Our rules are clear that ministers answer questions that are under their official line of duty. So you cannot ask the Minister of Finance, because he's a Minister of Finance and he has released money to the Water Resources Ministry, he should come and answer questions that relate to how monies are spent at the Water Resources Ministry or at the Defense Ministry. So you see, it must also be emphasized that all the supplementary questions by Honorable Ablakwa were overruled by Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker had the occasion to call him to order. So for him to come out to raise issue that has to do with lack of transparency is neither here nor there. Suffice to state that he himself had provided figures and he put these figures out there on his social media handle. Where did he get those figures from? If indeed he already has the figures, the cost, then why is he asking the Minister of Finance to provide figures? So there is a whole lot of political mischief. The aim of his press conference is to tarnish the hard-won reputation of the Minister of Finance. It is for political point scoring, and I am saying that if he is minded to know the facts, the opportunity is there for him to file a question to the National Security Minister to come and answer.
Since the 1st of June that the Right Honourable Speaker admitted this question under Order 66, the Finance Minister has consistently been requesting for more time. Remember that the Finance Minister had earlier given indication that he will provide the answers, and so was programmed to respond to the question on the 17th of June. It was in the provisional order paper of the 16th of June. Then on the 17th, he came to Parliament early and sought permission to be granted more time. And he's done that a couple of times. So suddenly, he comes today, the 21st of July. Since the 1st of June, he comes the 21st of July, after several weeks, to tell us that we should go to the Minister for National Security. Very shocking indeed. This is clearly a government that is seeking to cover up, is seeking to conceal, is refusing to disclose the full cost of this profligate luxury travels. Now, the other question that arises is that I refer you to the Honourable Minister for Defence's response to the first leg of our question. You recall that the Honourable Minister for Defence took responsibility that when it comes to presidential travels, particularly relating to presidential jets and all of that, it is referred to them and that they are responsible because the communication squadron is under the Ministry of Defence. Today, we are being referred to national security and all of that. So you see the government confusion, the attempt to...
All right, so that's what transpired at Parliament yesterday. Now, Vitus Azim, who's an anti-corruption campaigner, said that it's disappointing is I'm disappointed because politicians always hide behind setting faulty laws to withhold information from the public. This is a financial matter. Accountability to Ghanaians. What is national security about this? It's not as if the president is now going. He has traveled and come back. So why is it a security matter? He said it's obvious that after asking for more time, the government realized it spent more than it should and is afraid to let Ghanaians know the truth. And Tesla Atuforsin, MP, who's also a former deputy Minister of Finance, says that it cannot be accepted as the finance minister is mandated to oversee all financial matters in the country in accordance with the Public Financial Management Act 2016 sections 4 and 5. Says we say this for a simple reason. We're all aware that the Public Financial Management Act clothes the Minister of Finance with every responsibility and power. Section 4 also makes the Finance Minister the supervising minister for the use of all public funds per any covered entity. And covered entity includes the Office of the Chief of Staff, the National Security Secretariat. So for the Minister to appear before us and refer the matter again to the Minister responsible for National Security and the Chief of Staff, we find it unacceptable. Says I'm at a loss for a Minister of Finance to come before us and say to us that he doesn't know what it is. You know what this means. It's an attempt by the government of the day, the President Kufuor and Bawumia government, to hide behind technicalities to hide their opulence. This is what it is hiding, behind technicalities, not to provide information to the people of Ghana. Yeah, what's Atuforsin? Kesel Atuforsin, the honorable member for Ejumako. What's the big deal about this issue that we've been going back and forth?
Well, back and forth, I'm sure in context.
Yes.
You are looking at the time frame
yes.
that has taken the Minister of Finance to go to Parliament. The earlier stages of delayed response, I think, was justifiable, was easy to understand. And I hear my brother Ablakwa keep talking of 1st June and things. Whilst those were factual timelines, the truth of the matter is that it shifted really to 14th June when the Minister of Finance was asked officially to put in a response to Ablakwa's question. I'm sure it's you and him have had some little tussle over this based on information I supplied you, and he appeared not to believe what I was saying, but it's a fact that Parliament informed the minister 14 June, and so the minister actually then requested for, postponement of his appearance. So that part was quite legitimate. Now, Randy, anybody who is also not satisfied with what has happened or what happened yesterday, I would say has a case. I understand. A lot of people were expecting the finance minister to come and provide figures, specifics, relative to the expenditure on this recent trip, the South Africa, Belgium, and France. So when the minister appeared and did not give figures, it's natural that a lot of people will be disappointed. And I don't have a difficulty with that at all, because perhaps, if I may be honest with you, I was also expecting figures. If you have listened to me, I always insisted that the real meat will be there when the finance minister comes to put in a response. So as for people's expectations not having been met, and so they are disappointed, I think I can live with that. I can understand it and appreciate it. No need to attack that particular line. Now, the important thing is to look at the substance of the answers the minister is giving and interrogate them. First and foremost, he has redirected the question virtually to the National Security Minister. Is that sustainable or unsustainable? That's why I asked who was talking. I don't know the practice during the time Mr. Kesel Atuforsin was Deputy Finance Minister, whether indeed it was the Finance Ministry that was in charge of the President's travels or the expenditure of the foreign travels. I hear Ken Ofori-Atta making a certain case to the effect that the President's travels, especially the foreign travels, are the responsibility of national security and the office of government machinery, meaning the chief of staff. Is that valid or is not valid? Is there any documentation that shows that when it comes to foreign travels, particularly of the president, where is the first line of responsibility? My own checks shows that when it comes to the foreign travels, indeed, there is a unit located within the Office of Government Machinery known as Foreign Travels Unit, and they take care of those things alongside with national security. National security is itself part of the Office of Government Machinery. I don't know if you are aware of that. You know, the BNI, no, now the NIB and the other research department and Office of National Security, but now it is Office of the Minister of National Security, are all components of the Office of Government Machinery. It's stated. Do you have a doubt of what I'm saying?
No, I was just playing, you know, when it's become a ministry, are you suggesting that when it's become, you know, there are times that we've had it and it not being a ministry?
Yes.
Yes. So
but that's why the collaboration began. You see, I see the distinctive point you want to make, that because it's now a Ministry of National Security, you don't expect it to be part of the Office of Government Machinery. Kenneth Rata was making the point about collaboration relative to foreign travels of the president.
There is collaboration.
Yes, and that's the point I'm making. But originally, in fact, pre-Akufo-Addo administration, if you look at the structure of, or is it, they call it
organogram.
Organogram, thank you. The Office of National Security is within the Office of Government Machinery. And there's a foreign travels unit there. And they are focused on these things. Yes, monies are released in terms of budgetary line, and that's the key thing everybody is seeking. The budgetary line, monies are given to the Office of Government Machinery. There's a budget outline for them. They then, depending on what the tax are, will disperse. Obviously, if the president is traveling, the budget has already been given to the Office of Government Machinery. They, in collaboration with National Security, in this case, Ministry of National Security, will deal with the issue. The budget outline will come from the Office of Government Machinery. The Ministry of National Security collaborates with them, but because of that, they will be aware of how much is going in there. So, in substance, in terms of the framework, the Minister of Finance is not entirely wrong to say that these are the things. But you see, because of the time lapse, if he was going to give this answer, and I'm being very candid, I would have expected that either much earlier he indicated that it was a wrong person, he was a wrong person to come and answer, and so redirect, and that could have been done long ago. Even the letter that was sent, you can respond to that letter. So there's a lapse there, there's an omission there, and if I have to be very fair, I cannot ignore it and let it just fly. And it is part of why people will have difficulties and challenges with what happened yesterday. But it's never lost. And I like the resilience of Ablakwa in contest. That look, fine, you brought this, the speaker has made some rulings and things, and members of parliament, they cannot ignore what the speaker has done. If you challenge, you want to challenge a speaker's decision, you come by way of substantive motion. You can challenge a speaker's decision, rulings, but it is done, there's a procedure for it, proper substantive motion, that you're challenging the thing. Once you don't challenge it, it means you are living, you've decided to live with it. Fortunately, there's still a window of opportunity to interrogate this thing in terms of the financial accountability. It says it's the Minister of National Security who will have the answers. I'm presuming that the Minister of National Security then will have the figures for the House, will provide the
He throws in something.
Yeah.
And he throws it in subtly. You know, apart from saying that he releases funds quarterly.
That is their practice.
And puts it in an omnibus manner.
Yeah.
He also subtly says that the president's travels are a national security matter.
Yes. Yes. That's debatable. You can't debate it. I have
and
no
then
problem.
he speaks about things that are done in camera?
See, in my mind's eye, I wouldn't be surprised if the Minister of National Security requests that he will give his answer in camera.
Yes.
I wouldn't be surprised. And it's done. It's been done before. You know, it can be the committee of the whole where only the speaker will allow proceedings to be made public.
Let me pick your mind on something. You see, this thing of making a monster out of national security. First of all, the president has embarked on the trip and he's come back.
Yeah.
We all agree that in today's world, when it comes to the aviation industry, the issue of aircraft, once you get the tail of the aircraft, you can have every information you want about the aircraft, its flight plan and everything. You can know it. What is of a national security concern about cost?
No, well, you see, that's a good point. It's a good question. But in my view, if we are looking for the financial outlay relative to a particular presidential trip, I don't think it's only the cost of the flight that we are looking for. So if you went on the net and you saw those figures and you believed in them and you used them, and I'm not saying you are wrong so doing, but these are figures out there, you put them together, it doesn't give you the full picture of the expenditure.
That's not the point I was making. The point I was trying to make is, how does the cost become a national security issue? That's why I related to, the aircraft, because that's where people might say that, you can't disclose the aircraft, you can't do this, there are security implications.
The cost should not necessarily on its own be the issue of national security.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
It's not the cost, no.
Yes.
Okay? The travel is within the context in terms of management of the travel. Is considered a national security issue.
Even though we are informed that the president is leaving Accra on this date, he will go here.
No, I'm talking of the management aspect.
Okay.
You see, the collaboration. That's why he is saying that is the National Security Ministry and the Office of the Chief of Staff, indeed the Office of Government Machinery, that collaborate to do this. Why would national security be involved in that? Because it's the president traveling. Anywhere the president is, there's a security issue.
I have absolutely no issues with it.
I know that.
What I was just trying to pick your mind on is that if a question is being asked about disclosure of costs, why must issues of in-camera and national security come up?
Yeah, but cost. That's what I'm saying. The cost is not relative to only those simple things about how much you paid for the flight, how many hours you were paying, what, and all that. It's not just that. There is always some budget that is also given to the president or his team when they are traveling out there, because there are so many things they do out there that cannot be disclosed.
Yes.
Those are part of national security issues. It could be even dealing with some country or some people in that country. I'm speculating in terms of the items.
Right.
But these things do happen. The practice, from what I'm getting, is that national security and Office of Government Machinery manage this particular foreign travels. This is it. I haven't asked, but I'm assuming that the foreign travels unit in the Office of Government Machinery will be the key unit to deal with those things. What I would not accept is to say that the figures are not available. That cannot be, because the figures were not given to ghosts or thrown away. So in terms of the financial accountability, I am for a situation where figures, specific figures, will be given relative to the cost as well as accommodation and other matters. Those that cannot be disclosed, fine, don't disclose the item, but disclose the figure. You get my point? It can be done. It helps good governance. It helps promote accountability. On those issues, I'm clear, and I'm saying that's why I see the disappointment out there, which I will not attack. I will not attack because I think the way it's been managed, okay? Long ago, Parliament should have been made aware that, look, this question perhaps is misdirected. Let the National Security Minister come and answer, okay? I don't think the Chief of Staff could, because then that one, unless it's at the committee level, that Chief of Staff could go there and talk. But before the plenary, I don't expect the Chief of Staff to be the one. Occasionally it's happened. I remember Bank of Ghana, the governor, you remember the redenomination.
Yes.
Yes, an exception was made to that effect. But this is something that the window is not closed. I haven't seen the full complement of what happened in Parliament. You played it, then I realized there were a lot of things happening. Because what I heard on radio, I didn't actually hear the speaker's rulings and things. So again, by my standards, I would rather have the full complement as captured in the Hansard to have a better understanding. But I'm clear in my mind that it would be good for this country if eventually figures, specific figures, the amount that was expended is made public. That's my position.
Right.
I see no challenge there at all.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. You're disappointed?
I'm not disappointed.
You are not disappointed?
No.
Oh, okay.
I rather feel very insulted as a Ghanaian.
Insulted?
I think the answer the Minister for Finance gave the August House of Parliament yesterday relative to this issue is insulting to the intelligence of Ghanaians.
A lawyer must be a stickler for due process?
No, this is not due process. This is a finance minister who is being evasive, who is being dodgy, and who is being dishonest about matters of government's expenditure that should not take him any struggle or sweat to provide. And I feel very insulted by his posture on this issue. I think we need.
Although he releases money to the minister,
the man is lying, and that is my problem.
Don't ask him.
And that is my problem with Mr. Balcom.
Why?
His position that the answer the finance minister gave is not wrong per se is problematic.
Why?
Because the finance minister was wrong. The finance minister was being dishonest.
Why?
And I have seen an attempt by Mr. Baku to even amend the answer Ken Ofori-Atta gave on the floor. Yes, you've tried to amend and skirt around the issue and polish the issue.
Why are you worried about me?
No, because I need to also comment on your position on this matter. I think you are not being fair to the issue. You see, we are not showing sufficient anger as a people about some of these issues. We are not showing sufficient revulsion for the way government officials who are paid with our taxes treat us with outright contempt and disrespect. And that is why these things will continue to go on, because we tolerate them when they happen. Randy, what are we discussing? We are discussing the recent foreign trip of President Akufo-Addo to Paris, to Belgium, and to Johannesburg. This is an issue that was raised by our ranking member for Foreign Affairs, Honorable Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa.
There was an additional question of a sort.
Yes, but it was raised by him.
Person.
He did it, conducted investigations, and first broke the story. And the issue has been...
The point I'm making is that it's not only one question that was being answered.
Oh, yes. There were other questions. I'll come to
yesterday.
There was one other question on education that even exposes his dishonesty. Okay.
No.
Now the issue.
No, Sammy, I'm sorry, I'm being rude in terms of my intervention. But I think there was another question related to presidential travel between period 2013 to 2016.
That's the red herring that I.
No, it doesn't matter.
But let's comment on this issue.
Records.
No problem. Let's deal with this issue first. We can deal with that later.
I suggesting that the finance minister answered both yesterday.
I don't know.
But what he dealt with yesterday was Okudzeto Ablakwa's question.
Exclusive.
Okay.
Yes.
Now,
but you are aware they said.
Yes. That's the one filed by.
Is it
Paula Chumberima?
Okay, so that was not dealt with.
No.
Okay.
Next week.
Yeah, but it means that that will not be dealt with.
I asked him.
I'm noting the head.
No,
I'll pay him back next week.
All right, let's go.
Okay. But look, the issue really has been about the propriety of that trip. The first issue was whether or not it was prudent for the president to use the taxpayers' money to charter one of the most luxurious, most expensive private jets in the world for that trip, when Ghana's presidential aircraft, the Falcon 900 EX, was available. So the prudence of that transaction has been one of the major issues. The second issue was that, assuming without admitting that it was even right for the president to rent a private jet and not travel in the state's presidential aircraft, which was bought without taxpayers' money by the Kufuor administration at a cost of $43 million. Assuming without admitting that it was even right for the president to disregard that aircraft and go for a chartered aircraft, couldn't he have gone for other modest options? These and many more have been the issues that we have discussed and debated as far as this issue is concerned. The first leg of the issue has been settled by the Minister for Defense, Honorable Dominic Nitiho, who appeared in Parliament and told our representatives that at the time of this trip, Ghana's aircraft, presidential aircraft, the Falcon 900EX, was in pristine condition and available. And so the president could have traveled in that aircraft and saved this country millions of cedis, which could have been used for useful projects and initiatives that can benefit the people of this country. The Minister for Defense has settled that. So there is no question about the prudence of that transaction. We all knew that it was simply to satisfy the insatiable appetite of President Akufo-Addo for luxury. That is why he chose that aircraft. We all know that that trip was wasteful. We know that Falcon 900EX was even in France. We know that President Mahama has traveled in that same aircraft to France before. We know that all the excuses they gave about capacity, about range and all that didn't make sense. And so he didn't have to travel in that luxurious private jet. Now, the next issue we want to unearth or unravel has to do with the cost component of the transaction. Because Honorable Okudzeto Ablakwa,
questions were dealt with.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Honorable Okudzeto Ablakwa.
In the same context.
Yeah, thank you, Honorable Kofi Adams.
Honorable Okudzeto Ablakwa did some preliminary investigations on the matter, went to the website of the company that the president rented this luxurious jet from, Acropolis International, and found out that it cost averagely £15,000 per hour to rent that jet. Our friends in government, including Mr. Bako, have questioned those figures. They've said that, oh no, that's just information on their website. Yeah. Government could have negotiated it down. So we all need to know the real facts and know how much the taxpayer spent on that trip. Because the cost of that trip will inform the discussion about the propriety or the prudence of saying. Okay, so that we can learn useful lessons from that. And so we all said, okay, let's support Honorable Ablakwa to file this question and let the appropriate, minister or government official come and provide answers in the spirit of accountability and transparency. The question was filed sometime 1st June this year, or admitted sometime 1st June this year. I'm told that per the standing orders of Parliament, the minister was supposed to answer same within 10 days. Now we heard excuses about, he got the information about the question late around 14th and all that. I'm not going to even contest that. Because assuming without admitting that he got information late on the 14th, yesterday was 21st, meaning that he has had more than 1 month to answer. And per my checks, he has been in communication with the office of the speaker, or let me say, in communication with Parliament, seeking for more time. And he has sought for more time, not only on one occasion. Only for him to come to Parliament yesterday and tell our honorable representatives that it is not his job to tell us the cost of that travel. The first issue that answer raises is the issue of waste of time. Ken Ofori-Atta has wasted the time of Parliament and the time of Ghanaians for nothing. Because it should have been obvious to him when he was formally notified about this parliamentary question that it was not his job, if that was the case. Why was he consistently asking for more time, which he was given? He has been given more than a month, only for him to come and tell us that, this is not my job, I'm directing you to the Minister for National Security. That's the first thing. The lack of respect for Parliament and the people of this country is so glaring in the way and manner Ken Ofori-Atta has conducted himself relative to this matter. Then the second issue that his answer raises is the issue of dishonesty, the lack of sincerity in his answer. Doc, it is not true, like Mr. Bako said, that the finance minister Ken Ofori-Atta said that, when it comes to the international travels of the president, it is this, and he lumped both together. So the dichotomy Mr. Bako is drawing between domestic travels of the president and international travels of the president is neither here nor there. It is not contained in the answer. You said that per Ken Ofori-Atta's answer, when it comes to the international travels, it is handled by Office of Government Machinery in collaboration with the National Security. I'm saying that if you read this answer, last paragraph, it says, Mr. Speaker, the President's domestic and international travels are matters to do with national security. Yeah. The National Security Minister is best placed to furnish this Honorable House with the details needed. There was no dichotomy. So don't amend the answer. Okay, you did. Now, this answer is not correct because, number one, the Minister for Defense has told us that when it comes to the choice of aircraft the President travels with, and all the arrangements, the crew and all that, the management of his travel, they handle it.
I thought he was referring to the presidential jet.
Apart from the so why was he giving answers about the Airbus AC320neo?
When it comes to rented aircraft, the crew has nothing to do with us.
But I'm trying to say that not just the crew, but I'm talking what jet to rent, whether it is fit for purpose, the safety of same and all that. He took responsibility for that. That it is handled by his ministry, Minister for Defense.
Being told something else.
Yes. So why national security? Nitiwul has already accepted responsibility and provided answers for same. So when did this animal called national security come into this matter? Randy, I want to put on record that under the laws of this country, the public officer or the government official who is best placed to give us answers about the cost of the travels of the president, whether domestic or international, is none other than the finance minister, Ken Ofori-Atta. He cannot shirk that responsibility. That responsibility is not that of the Minister for Defense or Minister for National Security. The reason is that we all know that when it comes to expenditure relative to the office of the president, it falls under the Office of Government Machinery budget line, and therefore the allocations and the expenditure happen under the office of the Chief of Staff. We all know that. But under our Public Financial Management Act, no payments, and I repeat, no payments can be made by any ministry, any department, any government agency without that payment going through the GIFMIS system. And GIFMIS is the Ghana Integrated Financial Management Information System, which is law. The Public Financial Management Act has given legal effect to it. So you raise the payment warrants and all that. The expenditure is codified and it goes through a system that the finance minister has oversight. He is the only public officer who can query an expenditure line under the GIFMIS system. He is the only one who can access the system and know money that has been expended by ministries and government agencies. The Minister for Finance, not the Minister for National Security or the Minister for Defense. So the man was being dishonest when he told Parliament that it is not his job. It is his job. The Public Financial Management Act says it is his job. He is the only government official who is in the position to know this. Because the Chief of Staff cannot appear before the floor of the House to give this information. Assuming without admitting that this transaction did not even go through the GIFMIS system, which will make it illegal, assuming without admitting that that is what happened, the finance minister could have simply asked for this information from the Chief of Staff. That has been the practice, because the Chief of Staff can appear before parliamentary committees, but certainly not on the floor. And so the minister appearing on the floor, if his answer borders on the job of the Chief of Staff, will have to consult the Chief of Staff and get the relevant information for Parliament. Why couldn't he do so? It's been more than 1 month. You have the authority under the GIFMIS system, you have failed to do so. Even if the transaction was an illegal transaction, as they are known for, and didn't go through GIFMIS, you could have simply queried the Chief of Staff and gotten that information for Parliament as well. You didn't do so. Now, where from this argument by Afenyo Makin, and I even heard Mr. Baku rehashing the same argument that, oh, if something doesn't fall under the mandate of the finance minister, then he cannot provide answers about expenditure and all that. He only releases money. Where from that? Yesterday, when Ken Ofori-Atta appeared before Parliament, one other question he answered was questions about the funding for free SHS. Whether we've been funding free SHS with loans and how much we spent on it. In fact, the question was just about whether or not we funded free SHS with loans.
Yes.
Okay. But he even went into details about how much has been allocated, how much has been spent. Expenditure. Is he the Minister for Education? How come he's able to give us information about monies that the Ministry of Education has spent on free SHS, but he can't give us information about monies that the Office of Government Machinery has spent on the President's needless, foreign travel in a rented luxurious private jet? Why that inconsistency? So these are a group of people who have no respect for Parliament and the people of this country. They have no respect for accountability and transparency. They think they can misuse, abuse public funds and go scot-free. They won't answer any question. The impunity of it. Do you think that the National Security Minister can provide answers about cost? And people are saying, okay, let's go to the... And that is why I disagree with the Right Honorable Speaker. Let's go to the National Security Minister to give us answers that he is not responsible for.
The Finance Minister...
No, but why must we take the word of the Finance Minister? The laws that Parliament have passed relative to public finances and expenditure are clear. That he is the public officer who has that responsibility to provide that information. Not the national security doesn't deal with issues of cost.
Well, he says that the National Security Minister is best placed to give us the answer.
So if a minister appears before Parliament and gives an answer or a direction which doesn't make sense in law, we must follow him because he is a minister. And so in law, he has that locus, he has that responsibility, he has that capacity to assess that information.
Yes.
And Doc, where from this argument about national security, that this subtle attempt to introduce so-called national security excuses or considerations into this whole discussion? You know when they could have raised that issue? The time they could have raised the issue of national security considerations was the time the Minister for Defense was appearing before Parliament. Even that one, it would have been untenable, but at least they could have argued that, oh, the type of aircraft the President travels in and where he rents it from and all that are issues of national security. They could have, maneuvered their way around that. But even that one, the Minister of Defense, and I commend him for that, regardless of how, and I think he was being candid when he spoke about the President can't shower in the Falcon 900 EX, and that being one of
almost
it was not edited.
Freshen up.
No.
Oh, it's
but freshen up includes showering.
We all know. You remember that day you and I.
When you tell your wife that you're going to freshen up, it cannot include you going to shower.
We all know.
So because the President wants to freshen up, the Falcon 900 ES, which is very comfortable, very luxurious, it's not fit for him.
Have you ever taken a candid shower?
Come on. I mean, the excuses just don't make sense.
All right.
We don't want to leave. We don't want to leave the issue of the cost of that trip in the realm of speculation. We want to know what the true facts are. Did we get the aircraft for free? How much did we get it for? How much has been paid? The people of this country deserve to know. You see, I even said that, and that is why sometimes I disagree with Mr. Bako, who is an avowed believer in parliamentary practice. When he always directs us to go to Parliament, do this, I tell them that process has its own limitations. You recall that when we first discussed this issue, I raised this issue in terms of supplementary questions and its admissibility and all that, and how evasive ministers can be on the floor. Why can't President Akufo-Addo himself, the man was the one who enjoyed on that trip, he was the one showering in the sky, why can't he himself, when he appears at the functions he appears at, address this issue once and for all? I traveled in the luxurious aircraft Airbus ACJ 320 new. I pay £20,000 per $. I'm sorry, I won't do that again, or I will do that again because it has always been my childhood to shower in the sky. I mean, you should give an answer. I'm saying that.
Come on.
I see a conspiracy
Yes.
I see an agenda, not just by Ken Ofori-Atta, but by the entire government machinery. That look, we are going to play kwani with these people. You know, Pilulu, how it is done.
Yes.
We will direct them to finance minister. Then finance minister, national security. National security will say chief of staff. Chief of staff cannot appear, so they will dodge it. That is what they are trying to do. But you know what? They are only postponing the date for the monumental embarrassment that awaits them over this issue. Right. Because I know Honorable Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa, that astute, that patriotic member of parliament. I know his tenacity. I know his resilience. And I know he won't give up. I know our leadership in parliament and our MPs will not give up on this issue. Right. And we, the people of this country, whose taxes were used on that useless trip, okay? And you know, ironically, the president was going to France, among others, to beg for debt forgiveness. And he chose to go in that luxurious aircraft at that huge cost to the state and all that. You see, so, Mr. Bakon, this issue is very bad and indefensible. Let us tell government to do the right thing. Mr. President, the buck stops with you. You are the commander-in-chief. You were in that plane. You were on that trip. Your ministers are being evasive. They are not showing respect to the people. Come out and tell us how much the state spent on that. You have the capacity, whether it is the national security minister, assuming without admitting that is correct, or the chief of staff, or you have the capacity to know how much was spent on that trip. Tell us. And let this matter end. So that we can learn useful lessons from it. Let's stop skirting around the issues and defending.
I have made a point that I'm interested in seeing specific figures and amounts. I have made that point here, and that I'm hoping that we reach that stage, whether it comes from the national security minister or anywhere else. I am interested in having figures. That's one. And Randy, if the tenacity that my brother referred to is anything to go by, I remember I also said resilience of Ablakwa and things, which I admire. Look, the speaker made rulings. We're talking parliament. They should challenge the speaker's ruling.
They can disagree with it, right?
You disagree, that's nothing. Challenge in parliamentary practice. I'm saying move a motion, substantive motion, challenging it if indeed you think it's unlawful. That's one. And Randy, the national defense minister.
Why are you always putting the burden on us? You did it to me. Why are you always, Randy, why is Mr. Bakon always putting the burden on us? Challenge it. Go to, what about President Akufo-Addo? Doesn't he have a duty to the people of this country?
You've done it. You've done that.
But you to do it. Or when it comes to President Akufo-Addo, you can't talk about it.
Listen, you have done what you believe in here. Allow me to also say what
about
defense minister in this question of national security and it's here. He actually alluded to it in his statements. I mean, thought he didn't. Let me just read it quickly. Mr. Speaker, President Nana Akufo-Addo is one person who prefers to go by road if the Ministry of Defense considers his yearly schedules. However, the choice to travel by road, air or sea is a national security imperative, and I had reason to release the Falcon 900X to other VVIPs, including ex-presidents, to travel out on national duties. VVIP or presidential travel is not about aircraft type or cost, but it is all about the safety of the aircraft crew and passengers. In conclusion, Mr. Speaker, the simple answer I would have given to the question would have been yes, the Falcon X Easy with registration number so and so is serviceable. But as members would now appreciate from my explanation, the decision to travel particularly to long and multiple destinations, such as the president traveling to France, Belgium, South Africa, and back to Ghana, especially during this COVID era, would always require a larger capacity aircraft.
Which is not true.
No, but you gave the impression he did not address. All I'm doing is that the man addressed it. One, the context of national security, whether you agree or not.
He still gave the answers we were looking for. He was not evasive. He gave us the answers. No,
I am telling you
the reason why we must all be concerned about this, and this is my last point. In 2019, in only 9 months, I'm sure you remember how much this country, under the leadership of President Akufo-Addo, spent on the foreign travels of President Akufo-Addo alone. A whopping 69 million Ghana cedis. That is over 690 billion old Ghana cedis. That is why we need to know how much was spent on this trip.
All right, okay.
Why don't we want to disclose that?
I'm for it.
You are always arrived at our destination.
We should go to Parliament.
Thanks, Sami and Kweku, for joining me.
Up next.
GMG Trends.
Masa, Maria, I'm kind of coffee. I am no more budget born again. Why? Have a beer, you can be people, right?
HD logo the bottom. Where you say HD local channels na mo hwedo. And so pictures here clear. E 5 times better. As other channels that go be show ho. So go the mention mo ntram ra kana why. Oh, what the pictures.
Who knows tomorrow?
No, what the picture. What do AD plus decoder or multi TV and now electroland agent PR natural local channels now HD the here so better
Star 879 hash
numbers from Kubo box and now the advert AD channels now you can
get an HD plus decoder from now till the 9th of August for just $89.99 Ghana cedis and enjoy 3 months free subscription. Enjoy all the excitement and live sports action in the HD Plus Air Bosso Fili promo. Promo lasts from 7th June to 9th August 2021. Visit hd-plus.com.gh or call 024-243-9872 for more info.
Order kwa you dear, near to Philly and you buta. Half a nose for good things.
Night here on Metro TV and also on DSTV channel 277. In current affairs, we have the latest political and social news. The Business Bit brings you up to speed with the happenings in the world of business, commodities, the stock and forex market. We also have the latest in the world of sports, plus news across our borders in our international segment. We're on air.
Hello and welcome to Metro News Night, live from our studios here at number 8 Avenue Extension here in Accra. My name is Noble Crosby Annet.
And I am Afia Fusua. Coming up, our top stories now.
A very good evening to you and welcome to News Night here on Metro TV. I am
Right, welcome back to the show. If you're just joining us, this is Good Morning Ghana live on Metro TV. Shows brought to you in kind partnership with X Natural Mineral Water. And Desmond Okreku Dako is joining me here on the show. Good morning, Desmond.
Good morning, Dr. Randy.
What's trending?
Oh, a lot of things trending. Of course, Kennedy Japan is in the trends once again, and the acting IGP, as he will be getting into office soon, is also trending. COP Dampari, he is trending. 37 Military Hospital is also in the trends, and Andre Dedayu is also in the trends this morning. So let's begin with Kennedy Japan. Now, the president appointed him as the board chairman of the Ghana Gas Company Limited, and there have been some reactions towards his appointment, and yeah, some of them. Actually, there's a petition on Twitter about 2,500 people have signed that petition that the UK should ban him from traveling and all that. Those are some of the things people are saying on social media with respect to Honorable Kennedy in Japan. Now, let's move on to the next comment here. This one says, good morning all. So the president was asked to comment on Kennedy Japan's comment on threats against a multimedia journalist. The president on Tuesday finally spoke and said he is a promoter of free speech and proceeds to make Kennedy the board chair of Ghana Gas on Wednesday. Well, that's a big D writing on Twitter. We'll move on to the next comment on Twitter about his appointment as the board chair of the Ghana Gas Company
Limited, and we'll get into that very, very soon. Remember that Honorable Kennedy Japan has been in the news since last week. He's been trending always on Twitter. So moving on to the next one. Then we talk about COP Dampare, his appointment that came in yesterday. This one from Yamo says that, to me, COP Dampare didn't do too well as Director of Operations, but let's see what he'll make out of this new appointment. So that's about his appointment to be the IGP, acting IGP, as he's being replaced. He's actually replacing James Opombwenu. This one says that congratulations to COP Dr. George Akufu Dampare on your appointment as Inspector General of the Ghana Police Service. You have a lot of work to do, and I wish you well. That's from Honorable Bodo on Twitter. And let's move on to the next one. Then we'll talk about 37 military hospital. So this one says that Dr. Dampare, welcome, sir. Do a good job and GH will write your name in gold. Do a bad job and GH will slice and dice and even cut you open. We'll certainly support you in all your endeavors to succeed. Bravo, Mr. President. So let's talk about 37 military hospital now, because the hospital was sued, and lots of people are reacting to that on social media. So this comment by Kwame Last Baby on Twitter says, 37 military hospital looking more of a death trap than a place of redemption by the day. Sad thing. This is after, it has been slammed with 1 million Ghana cedis damages for the negligent death of Madame Helena Brema Nyameche that happened in 2015. And this one says that we've had too many of similar stories out there regarding medical negligence. Every institution providing essential services like healthcare, security, etc. must set up 37 military hospitals slammed with over 1 million Ghana cedis for woman's death at childbirth. Okay, so that's it about 37 military hospitals. Let's talk about Andre Ayew, because Black Stars captain, he is going to Qatar and he is signed for Al Sadd. That is a team being coached by Barcelona legend Xavi. And guess what? He's going to be earning $200,000 a week. And someone on Twitter actually did the conversion, and it's quite a lot of money though. So let's look at what people are saying about Andre Ayew. This one says that Andre Ayew, they go cash out for Qatar. You go fit loan Ghana. So that's the conversion there. 1,310,100 cedis there for Andre Ayew. So those are some of the trends on Twitter about Andre Ayew. So Doc, captain.
Yeah, very happy for Andre. I think that he's played at the highest level. He played in France for Olympic Marseille. He's played in the Champions League. He's played in England. At 31, you obviously would expect that, look, he's seen the best in his career. So it was a good move to go to Qatar, probably spend another 3 years there, and make the mega bucks so he can retire. Well,
Christian Atsu also moved to the Gulf area, and people are saying that our players are moving to leagues that are not really on top.
Well, but Dede has been a consistent performer in Europe for 15 years or more.
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, he's been playing for Olympic Marseille since he was 15, 16.
Yeah.
He played in the Champions League when he was not yet 18. So I think he's seen it all. And this is a good move for him.
Yeah, good move for him.
Good move for him.
So that's it about the trends this morning.
So that's one. I'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. All right. Well, up next is Metro Sports with Michael Kofi Odro. Hello, Michael.
Hi, Randy.
How are you?
We're doing well by grace.
Oh, okay. Nice tie.
Thank you very much,
okay. How much are you making of Dede's 200K a week?
Champ, it's interesting. We wish we were making something, but
that's how much you make on Metro. You make close to that. Yeah.
Hey, Champ. I'm sure, Champ, with this statement, I'm sure the number of calls I'm going to receive from family members and friends today.
The only difference is that your 200,000 is in pesos.
That's it. Our 200,000 is in pesos, exactly so. But it's interesting. We have Andre Ayew's transfer potential transfer to Al Sadd in numbers, $220,000 a week. And that's because
there's 20,000 on top.
There's 20,000 on top.
Okay. All right.
and there are some that are saying that at least he should the 20,000 that is on top, he should bring that down.
For solid.
That won't be bad at all, champ. That won't be bad. But there's also a ruling from the Appeals Committee of the Ghana Football Association. And the question many have been asking is that Far Rangers appealed the decision of the disciplinary committee. Now the ruling is up. Are they going to describe their appeal as a successful one or a failed attempt? We'll get very deep into that. The Olympic Games men's football is underway already. There is a major upset with Mexico thrashing France by 4-1. We have highlights and the talking points from all these and more to share with our viewers between 10 a.m. and 10:30 on Metro Sports with me, Michael Kofi-Odro.
All right, enjoy the show, Michael. I'll see you tomorrow.
Sure.
Well, that'll be it for Good Morning Ghana. Have a pleasant day.
Hello, good morning, and a warm welcome to Metro Sports with me, Michael Kofi-Odro. Remember, Metro Sports is live every weekday at 10 a.m. And today we're going to be visiting the corridors of the Ghana Football Association, where the Appeals Committee has demoted Far Rangers to the 3rd division in the Eastern region. This decision comes on the back of Far Rangers' appeal to a decision that suspended them from all footballing activities for 5 years. We'll get deeper into that. Andre Ayew is also joining Al Sadd Football Club in Qatar, and details of that will be coming up here on Metro Sports. In the Olympic Games, it's all excitement in the men's football. Yesterday, the women's football produced some interesting results, and the men's football is underway. The good news for Africa is that the Baby Elephants of La Côte d'Ivoire are up by 2-1 in their opening fixture, and now Egypt held the Spanish under-23 side, one of the overwhelming favorites, tipped to win the Olympics men's football gold. They were held by the young Pharaohs to a goalless drawn game. We have all these and more coming up on Metro Sports right after this break.
Masa, tam kubanwi ya mkazi bikufi haya imiduno mwa bajabona jamaa wai habe biya yuki na mibe bibi wai.
HD logo the bottom. Where you say HD local channels na mo hedo. And so pictures ni clear. They are 5 times better. As other channels that go be show. So go dey mention montra. What a picture. What do AD plus code or multi-TV and national agent PR? Natural local channels now. HD, the here so better. Star 879 hash. Numbers from Kubu box, and now you be activate AD channels now.